Hey guys, it's the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome video. The top 8 coasters at Six Flags America. Now, Six Flags America, even though they have 9 coasters, their kiddie coaster is pretty small, and they also have a Super Loop, which some people consider a coaster, even though in the enthusiast community, it's not a coaster, it's a good flat ride. Six Flags America, they have an okay lineup. They could definitely have a better lineup, but they have a pretty depthy lineup. In my opinion, they have some decent rides. They don't really have anything like that's over the top crazy, like amazing, like an RMC or something like that. But here are the top 8 coasters at Six Flags America. Number 8 is Mind Eraser, or in the Christmas times, it's called Reindeer's Flight. Why do they theme this coaster to reindeers during Christmas season? Because this does not seem like a flight for reindeers. Because there's tons of headbanging on this ride, and it's known for being unbearably rough. And why would a reindeer flight, be unbearably rough? It should be graceful and smooth. So, this was not the right coaster to rename during Christmas Reindeer's Flight. But Mind Eraser, it's still an SLC, so it's actually considered one of the worst SLCs. But moving on to number 7, Ragin' Cajun. Ragin' Cajun's a nice family coaster at Six Flags America, and if you're one of those enthusiasts who's been to Six Flags Great America a few years ago, before 2014, before they got Goliath, you may know that Ragin' Cajun used to operate there, and I have ridden it back in like 2013. I haven't ridden it since then, but I know what this ride's like. It's a nice wild mouse coaster, and during part of the ride, it actually spins, which is a cool thing. And this is one of my favorite wild mouse coasters. So let's move on to number 6, which is Roar the GCI. Now, GCIs are known for being amazing rides, but Roar, it's kinda rough, so yeah, it's not as good. The layout isn't as good as other GCI layouts, but it's still a decent coaster. I mean, it's not unbearable like a Dinwoody, so it's decent. So, moving on to our top 5, we have Apocalypse, the B&M stand-up that was formerly at Six Flags Great America as well as Ragin' Cajun, but was replaced by Goliath, but now it's at Six Flags America. It has 2 inversions, a decent curved drop, and the main problem with this coaster is that you are standing up on this coaster. I wish this could be like converted to a floorless coaster, something like Patriot. But Apocalypse was the first ever B&M coaster, so thank this coaster for all the B&Ms we have today. Number 4 is Joker's Jinx, and this is the Premier Ride Spaghetti Bowl coaster, and normally I would be a fan of a Premier Rides coaster, but this ride probably is known for being jerky, or at least the Flight of Fear coasters, because I didn't like the Flight of Fear coaster at Kings Island at all, because it was very jerky and not that enjoyable, besides the fact that its first launch and final inversion were good. So in my opinion, I feel like Joker's Jinx could be a jerky coaster, or it could be one of the best Premier Ride Spaghetti Bowl coasters out there. Number 3 is Wild One, and this is the classic wooden coaster of the park. Even though this coaster is the oldest coaster at Six Flags America, it's still a very fun coaster. It is kind of rough though, which does kind of ruin the experience a little bit, but it has some nice airtime moments to go along with the rougher ride. So Wild One, even though it isn't the smoothest, it's still a nice airtime-filled woody that many enthusiasts will enjoy, and it's one of the better coasters at Six Flags America, and a great piece of their lineup. Number 2 is probably a surprise or shocker to some people. It's Superman Ride of Steel. So, I kind of have a problem with this coaster. One, there's 2 massive double helixes that take up most of the ride, and in that area of land, they could have just added 2 massive bank turns, which would have been a sweet style of helix, and with the straight sections, they could have added more airtime hills, overall, I feel like this coaster could have had a much better layout than what it has. But enough of me complaining. This is a cool coaster, has an awesome drop, some decent airtime moments, and it's overall a nice hyper coaster to have at Six Flags America. But it could have a better layout. Number 1 is the cloned Vekoma Flying Dutchman Batwing. Now, I really like Vekoma Flying coasters. They are very fun, fairly smooth, and have some awesome elements back to back to back. From bank turns to inversions, this flying coaster is very fun, and it doesn't really meander around at all, kind of unlike Superman Ultimate Flight, which is another clone flying coaster. And Batwing, just a fun coaster to have in your lineup. Even though this coaster is the best coaster at Six Flags America, it's not one of those over-the-top coasters. But in my opinion, of all the coasters at Six Flags America, it is the best. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.